The next bill on the calendar for the day is House File 2959. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 2959, number 3 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to capital investment, appropriating money for the Rural Finance Authority.
I recognize the member from Mauer, the chair of the Agriculture Committee, Representative Agriculture and Food Finance Committee, Representative Poppe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. Tonight we have the opportunity to collectively help farmers throughout the state. The legislature established the Rural Finance Authority during the farm credit crisis of the mid-1980s to help farmers restructure mounting debt. Since its inception, funds have been replenished 10 times, most recently in February of 2017. House File 2959 before us tonight borrows $50 million from the bond market to appropriate the proceeds to the RFA. Replenishing the funds is a priority for the agricultural sector. The purpose of the bonds issued is to purchase participation interests in agricultural real estate loans. The bonds are considered user-financed general obligation bonds. The RFA partners with local lenders to make sure that farmers have the opportunity to have affordable credit. There are 4 categories from which a farmer could seek funds. Basic farm and seller assisted, which helps beginning farmers purchase ag land. The ag improvement loan, which finances farm improvements for any ag-related purpose. The Restructure 2 loan, which helps farmers reorganize farm debt to improve cash flow. And the livestock expansion loan, which creates affordable financing for new state-of-the-art livestock production. And this is a bipartisan bill, and I'd ask for your support.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 2959.
Third reading. Discussion to the bill. Any discussion to the bill? The member from Goodhue, Representative Haley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know it's late. I will keep this brief. Thank you, Chair Poppe, for this bill, and thank you, Representative Hamilton, for all the work that you've done in the past as well. I just wanted to share a short story from a constituent of mine that I think illustrates the impact and the importance of the RFA. Deborah Mills, she was the first constituent I met with when we started session 3 weeks ago, and she sat in my office and told the story of the Mills family. 4 generations in that family have started dairy farms. She and her husband, young and newly married 30 years ago in 1990, they had no credit, but they wanted to carry on the tradition. They wanted to be dairy farmers. So she told me, I put together a resume, and when we walked into the bank, they asked us if we were applying for a job. And she said, no, we're just trying to show you that we're good people, and we're earnest, and we'd like to start a dairy farm. The bank loaned them money, and they got 5 cows. They started on her dad's farm. 19 years later, they have 80 cows. They did that through help with an RFA. In 2007, they found a farm just north of Lake City. It was a beautiful 112 acres. Had a new dairy barn and a parlor. Didn't have a house on it. The farm needed a house and cows and a bulk tank, and they thought, we can do this. We have a mobile home. So they went to the bank, and they needed $800,000. This is the challenge for new farmers in the state of Minnesota. This is the challenge to pass on the tradition and to pass on family farms. They certainly didn't have $800,000. But the bank worked with them, the seller worked with them, so they were able to combine a commercial bank loan with an RFA, and they moved their mobile home onto the 112 acres. The Deborah Mills family did that in 2008, and you all know what happened in 2009. The market crashed and commodity prices dropped. They nearly lost the farm. But the RFA helped. They were able to refinance this loan with the bank, and they were able to get an extension. That led them to today, a successful family farm with 3 daughters that were all part of the Minnesota Dairy Princess contest and were finalists. 3 daughters that have degrees in agriculture, 3 daughters that want to carry on the Mills family tradition of being dairy farmers in Lake City. This is what the RFA is about, and I think we can end the night tonight with great bipartisan support to support our ag producers and the important agriculture industry in the state of Minnesota. I urge a green vote.
Any further discussion to the bill? Seeing none, the clerk will take Representative Hertaus.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I just wanted to say, Chair Hoppe, thank you for bringing this forward. And most of all, I want to say to all of the farmers out in our economy, thank you for feeding us. Thank you for feeding the nation. Members, there was a time not long ago, right at the close of World War II, where 50% of all farmers actually lived, or population of Minnesota, excuse me, actually lived on the farm. And that tendency and the efficiency of farming has continued to increase to such a magnitude that just 1.5% to 2% of all people in the nation live on the farm. And the nature of farming has become so sophisticated and so capital intensive, and the equipment so large that you have to have really an efficient farm needs a minimum of 1,500 or 2,000 acres just to really be a farmer. In fact, I looked at some of the equipment, and it takes 40 acres. 40 acres is turned just making one pass around the field. And so it has really become an efficient thing. But unfortunately for farmers, unlike many of us who are in business, sometimes we get to set the prices for the product that we produce. But I think it's important to understand that farmers aren't necessarily in that position. Yes, they can maybe market their grain or hold their grain, but inevitably they have calls and they have to pay back money that they borrowed. And capital is really so important right now. So, Chair Hoppe, thank you again. And this capital is really needed to help the farming industry. And it is self-funding in that the money is paid back. And I learned also today that the money is secured with first mortgage-backed securities. So there's really little risk for the taxpayer. Thank you.
The member from Cottonwood, Representative Hamilton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd just like to also thank Chair Hoppe for bringing this forward. It's a good bill. Please vote green.
Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. There being 127 ayes and 2 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to.